Harrisburg City Council has approved a new ordinance which holds landlords responsible for disruptive behavior on the part of their tenants.
2 disruptive occurrences a year is judged by the city's codes officers, and that landlord will lose his permit for the property. Many landlords in the city are ticked off, but city officials say it had to be done. Several landlords urged Harrisburg City Council Tuesday night to not approve the ordinance.
It's not the house behaving badly. It's not the landlords behaving badly.
I don't think that we want to encourage landlords to, in essence, become junior police officers.
But City Councilwoman Patty Kim, also a landlord herself, says this ordinance was badly needed. She says there are too many landlords that just want a rent check and are not careful about who they rent to.
Some of these tenants are so disrespectful to the neighborhood. They basically don't care. They can be rowdy, they can be loud.
Attorney Dave Lanza, who represents the landlords, says the ordinance goes beyond what the city is allowed to do.
That's right. It creates a lot of gray areas where a landlord may be having a dispute with his neighbor, or a tenant having a legitimate dispute with his neighbor. And the city decides, well, this is a perfect case to do this.
He says this new ordinance, along with other ones approved by the city in recent years, is pushing prospective landlords away from the city.
None of this is working. It's only creating more pressure on the good landlords. The bad landlords are avoiding the issue. The good landlords are paying the price.
The good landlords who may have come out to protest, this is not about them. We appreciate them being good landlords, but it does not affect them, and it shouldn't. It may inconvenience them, but we live in the city.
Council approved the measure 7-0. It was actually brought forward by Mayor Linda Thompson. I talked with her spokesman, Bob Philbin, today. He says that the landlords are blowing this out of proportion and that none of the people that were at the meeting last night should have any worries. The city is more concerned about absentee landlords. Well, HD.
The capital city is cracking down on rowdy tenants and problem properties. Good evening, I'm Janelle Stelson.
And I'm Brian Roach. A new ordinance allows the city to identify the problem properties, and it's not just the tenants getting in trouble. After the second offense, the landlords could also face action.
News 8's Harrisburg reporter Portia Johnson explains.
There are many repeat offenders here.
2 strikes and you're out. That's the new ordinance City Council passed on Tuesday for renters who don't know how to act. That means after you're charged, fined, and found guilty for being disruptive, landlords will be forced to evict you. And if he or she doesn't comply, the city can condemn the place and force the tenants out.
There are some landlords out there who are enforcing our ordinances, who don't tolerate it, who are not putting these unruly people in their places. And so I'm saying to all those who protest, obviously the shoe is fitting you, and we're saying to you we're not going to tolerate it.
The city says landlords will have their rental license for where the tenant resides revoked. David Butcher supports the ordinance. He had problems with some of his tenants dealing drugs and prostituting.
If we had a tool like that prior, it would have helped in eliminating some of those problems.
The big concern with this new ordinance is that it's so broad that it will run good landlords out of the city and keep new investors from coming in.
I would love to own property in Harrisburg, but if it gets to be too difficult, me and other good landlords are going to find other places to invest and do business.
Judah Hoover says that means more abandoned and blighted properties. He says the law can even open the door to discrimination.
We're encouraging the landlord to take a much more intrusive look into tenants' lives. The question is, are there even the laws on the books that I can deny someone a property for something that they, maybe may or may not do?
But in this case, doing nothing is just as bad. In Harrisburg, Portia Johnson, News 8.
Disruptive tenants.
Fox 43's Ashley Palutis is live in Harrisburg with more from a landlord who says this law could push landlords away from renting in the capital city.
This ordinance states that after 2 disruptive conducts are reported to a residence, that the landlord must evict them. And if they don't, then they can lose their license to rent the property. Harrisburg City Council voting unanimously Tuesday night to pass Bill number 12. The law, which defines and punishes disruptive tenants and their landlords, was formed by Mayor Linda Thompson.
I get calls all the time from every day from citizens who are complaining about disruptive occupants. You know, those who stay up all hours of the night, get high, smoke pot on their porch, sell drugs, and play loud music, and then are just very unruly and disrespectful to people who live next door to them.
Legislation section states that should city police issue 2 disruptive conduct reports to a property within 12 months, the landlord must evict the tenants, and if they don't, they could lose their license to rent that property.
We expect our landlords to know what's going on in the buildings. This will allow landlords to be better landlords, to make sure that their properties are better taken care of and that they are more aware of the tenants that are in the building.
Harrisburg landlord Judah Hoover says he's concerned about the law and how it will affect city landlords.
Say someone's playing their music too loud and the neighbor calls to complain, and that would be 2 minor things like that would cause me to lose my license to rent that property.
He also says he's afraid it will drive landlords out of the city.
Harrisburg already has a perception problem in the area. Do I want to own real estate there? Do I want to rent there?
Under this law, the eviction is a process. Once a tenant receives 2 of these reports, they have to appear in front of a district judge. We're live in Harrisburg. I'm Ashley Paludas, Fox 43 News.